Welcome back to the Now Morning Show as we're continuing, of course, with the beautiful Tobago Thursdays. Joining us is Ricardo Alfred, the chairman of TADCO, to talk about the launch of Set Nets Fishing. What is it? What's going on? We're going to talk to Ricardo now and find out. Good morning. How are you?
Yes, good morning. And how are you?
Wonderful. It's a pleasure to have you on the show with us this morning. Tell us a little bit about TADCO before we get into Set Net Fishing, Ricardo.
Right, so TADCO is a company that was formed in 2020. Basically, we offer a wide range of services from warehousing space. We offer dry storage, cold storage. We also offer a wide range of different products from the local persons right here on the island. We were recently engaged in a poultry project in which the chicken that was actually sold right here in Tobago, done by Tobagoans, definitely reducing the need for some of these imports and while building some capacity building with that as well. We also have a vessel called the Capital of Paradise in which we are doing a lot of fishing. Our target species is the yellowfin tuna, which we export on the American market.
Wonderful. So tell us a little bit about how set net fishing works, and then we're going to get into some of the benefits that the economy will feel from it.
Right. So what is happening? The longline industry is now regulated. And when I say regulated, it means that there's a group of policies and laws that we have to follow. One of that is live bait. How do we get our live bait? We normally get our live bait from St. Vincent. In the past, we used to get from Grenada, but we currently get from St. Vincent. So there was a net that was donated by the Japanese back so many years ago. It was built definitely to attract just what I'm saying, something called bait, which is an industry that is needed. So in collaboration with the Caribbean Fisheries Training Institution, we have an MOU in which we met with them about getting back this set net to operate out of Tobago because there's no regulation as relates to this type of net. So what is happening, this net will be installed at various beaches across Tobago. Some of the data here will definitely be used in terms of making regulations as to also data will be gathered as to the type of fish that comes into there. So basically the set net is a net that is stationary, but it allows a certain size of bait to pass through and a certain size of bait to stay. Nothing is killed. It's in a very secure area. The bait is removed, placed in a catchment area so that they can be sold to different vessels. The Capital of Paradise, which is owned by us, is part of the Trinidad and Tobago Longline Association. So definitely will assist the Trinidad vessels or other vessels in terms of coming to Tobago instead of traversing to these other Caribbean countries to get the bait. So Tobago can actually be known for having a bait industry.
Wonderful, definitely beneficial as well. Looking forward to seeing this change start to effect. So what is the rollout plan for this set net fishing?
Right, so again, with the collaboration with the Caribbean Fisheries Training Institution, we got this set net in Tobago last week. Yesterday, a group of volunteers from the various fishing associations, that's from ADFA, and some other fishermen came down and we had went through some of the gears. We have identified what we wanted. So what is going to happen is that the next phase now is to do some repairs on the vessels because, it was done for quite some time. So right now we are in the process of doing these repairs, getting the vessel that is needed for these type of operation. Once that is operated, we're definitely going to meet again with the stakeholders, that's the associations, the various groups, the community, and it's going to be a community project where we're going to get some of these divers to come and volunteer to help set it up and implement it. Once this is implemented, it's going to have a system where some group or company or entity will have to be responsible for operating this type of operation. So the net will have to be emptied every day. The net will have to be cleaned sometimes. The net, the fish coming out of this set net will have to be calculated. It will have to be stored. That's to be sold to the different vessels. So it's quite a very intense project, but I'm very grateful that it's a community effort by the persons right here in Tobago and all the stakeholders. So turtles will be trapped. So you will have the turtle NGOs that will definitely come and remove the turtles and place them in different areas. Again, nothing is killed in this thing, or everything will be alive. So it's a very good approach. But again, the first approach is to see what we have. That was done yesterday. We're sorting out the vessels, and then the next phase is to put it onto the beach with the stakeholders. And everything right here is done with the community involved, meaning and some stakeholders. So I'm quite grateful for that. It definitely shows a lot of commitment among the stakeholders and the fishing groups right here in Tobago.
It's wonderful to hear that you've had such a positive response thus far to set net fishing. Now, let's go back to the benefits and the benefits on the fishing economy. One of the things that you mentioned, of course, is reducing bait imports for St. Vincent and bringing Tobago into their own. What other benefits would you say set net fishing is going to bring, not just to the economy, but let's talk about the environmental benefits as well.
Right. So, you have this turtle season, right? In which sometimes some of the turtles are trapped. And so with this set net now, we can actually dive down there and remove these turtles and place them into the correct areas. What this will do as well is definitely generate another type of revenue where you would have a catch and release type operation. So persons who are involved in that whole tourism trade, because the bait will attract bigger fishes because they themselves are looking for food. Fish travel based on patterns as relates to how they swim. So these other fish that will come for the bait, now you can have, and I mentioned the catch and release. You're going to have now some of these processors in the area being able to get certain types of fish right there near to the shore in terms of doing their different process as relates to maybe smoked fish, the different types of delicacies. You're going to have some community build out as well because now you're going to have some employment in the area where divers would be needed. You would need persons to catch the bait to put it into the catchment area. This would now have to be sold to the various ships. The aim is to create some employment in the area and as well as some capacity building. So there's a lot that can be derived from it. There's a lot of benefits and a lot of training because I believe that training is very crucial. So we are going to be embarking on a lot of workshop training to different fishing communities where this set that will be in operation so that persons understand the importance of it because they themselves also have to provide some security, the community that is. You don't want persons coming in the night and removing the bait that is needed for revenue in different areas. So there's a lot of training that will take place.
Now, it's wonderful to hear this, because we're also hearing about creation of jobs, sustainability, protecting the environment, and so much more. But let's go back to the community's participation particularly. Now, as you said, the entire community is coming together. Initially, at the beginning, when this was under consideration for set net fishing, how well was this accepted by the community?
I don't really have all of the information as to why this set net went to Trinidad as to, you're talking over 20 years ago. So much could happen during that period. However, before we brought it to Tobago, we would have had a meeting with the stakeholders, letting them know what we want to do and get their thoughts. And what I would have told them as well is that we also have to look at our finances. So a lot of them agreed to offer their expertise as relates to the manpower, the diving skills, the various expertise that is needed to get this type of operation running. And I was very grateful for that. No one didn't really talk money in this consultation, which was good. I think that will come after as relates to selling the bait because currently we spend about close to $3,000-4,000 US on bait every time we go to St. Vincent. So, and that's just one vessel. And in the Longline Association, we have a very large number of vessels that would need this bait. So there's a lot of revenue that can be derived from it. But I'm quite happy with the community development. There's a lot of benefit for them because they can now create so much different businesses as relates from this one entity. Because the whole loop of it really is once this net is running, then we can look at further port development as relates to the type of ships or vessels or fishing vessels that come into Tobago where they could have a very stationary berth where they could provide things like water, sewage removal, different services right there on the jetty. So we have to look at that from a very strategic vantage point that we can do some stuff from. But we're just building the foundation right now in terms of building out what we really want to achieve in Tobago.
Definitely, and we see that you are off to a wonderful start. It's wonderful to see, of course, the collaboration between entities and, of course, among the community as well. And we know that we're going to see far-reaching benefits from this.
Yes.
Before we go, is there anything in closing you'd like to share comment-wise when it comes to set net fishing in Trinidad and Tobago?
The aim of this really is to not just for a TADCO project, not just a community project, but more as a national project. This will definitely benefit Tobago and, well, if you want to say Trinidad and Tobago, because we'll have a lot of vessels coming from Trinidad to come and get paid. So I want persons to really understand that this is a national project. The aim of it really is to collaborate with the various stakeholders right here in Tobago and in Trinidad. Again, because with the Caribbean fisheries as well, they are also embarking on part of our MOU is to provide some very needed assets for them as relates to them doing their research and product line as relates to the different value-added chain for fish, whereas you have smoked fish and different stuff. So we want to work with all of the entities, both here and in Trinidad, to definitely make this project successful and sustainable.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing that. And hoping that we're going to have you back on the show again soon so we can get some updates as to how it's going and also how it's growing.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us on the Now Morning Show and have a great day, Mr.
Okay,
Alfred.
thank you very much.
TADCO